Hello and welcome back to our lesson. We are going to continue from where we stopped in our previous lesson. We'll be treating what we call reusable elements. Reusable elements, what they are, how to create new ones, and the like. When we say reusable element, as the name says, it is an element you would like to be using anytime you are doing your design, because it is possible that there's a particular design you do for each of the applications you'll be creating. So it is important for you to create one reusable element so that anytime you want to use it, you not go through the stress of recreating it. So that's what we call reusable element. For instance, if you come to our reusable element here you see a footer and then a header. These are reusable elements. They are here. Now when I click on it or when I drag it onto my workspace, I'll see that the footer will be showing. My reusable element footer will be showing. But this is not where I want to work with, because here I cannot edit it. So I'll delete it and then I'll go to my page, click on my index and then choose either a footer or a header. I can close it, and I can also add new reusable element. Now in this case I want to explain how to add new reusable element. In case you don't want to use this existing header or this existing footer, we can create one on our own. So I want us to explain how we are going to create it. Okay, so we'll be doing reusable element together with what we call group or container group. So I want to create a new header. I'll click new reusable element and I'll give it a name. So I want to give it main header, because maybe we'll be creating header for every particular application we'll be doing. So new header. I can clone the already existing element, whether an existing header or footer. Okay, but I don't want to clone any. I want to create it from scratch. I'll click on it. I'll click on create. When I click on create, this is my new reusable element displayed here. This is my new reusable element, and I told you reusable elements are the ones it is likely that you continue to work with in your previous in your next project. Okay, so it is important to get a reusable element. Very, very important. Let's say you work with an application where you constantly create forms, sign up forms or sign in forms or admission forms. For instance, you are supposed to create an admission form, save it as as a reusable element, so that anytime you want to bring in an admission form or a sign up form, it will be easier for you by calling just one element. So these are reusable elements. When we double click on it, we will see the properties dialog box. So this way we are going to add all our properties. We are going to give this our reusable element. So I'll move to the width and I'll give it a width of 1080, so that to span from the left margin to the right margin. Let me try and let me drag it so it covers. Let me also do the heights as 90. Now the height can be anything between 72 to 90 pixels. So let's take that one into consideration. Every time we are creating a header, we should give it a height of between 72 to 90. You can change the color. I don't want to change any color. I think that will be all the settings I want on my I also want to create group I mentioned the group earlier, so let me go to groups, container group. Now when I click on it, I come and draw my group here. Now group is different from reusable element. Group is just used in what? Combining all the elements together, putting them at one place, putting them together. Now when I double click on my group also, I see the properties. I come to my width and I'll give it 1060, and then I'll give it a height of 70. A height of 70. All right, and then I will 70 is too short. Let me increase it a little bit. Okay, so I'll click on this element, go to my arrange, and I'll arrange it center horizontally, and I also go to the arrange and do it center vertical. All right, so I have my group also in shape. Now group is not any particular shape, so if you change the color of your reusable element, it changes the color of group. Let me explain what I was trying to say. Now when I choose blue as my reusable the color of my reusable element, it changes the color of the group, because group is not a shape. It is just there to bond all the elements together. All right, it's just there to bond all the elements together. So when you change the color of the reusable element, the color of group also what changes automatically. So let me take it back to white. You can also add your grid line so that it will guide you. When you add a grid line, this is what you see. You can also do the changes by doing it, let's say 20, just like we were doing it before. Let me do it 4. All right, you can. So when I change the color subsequently, it changes the color of my group also. I just want to explain so that, let me just use red. Now you realize that the color of the group has also what changed to red, and my grid lines are what we see in there. So let me take it back to white. I want to create certain pages. Okay, I want to create the pages in my group so that I'll indicate on my navigation bar, my home page, my services page, my about us page, and then my contact us page, or anything, your portfolio, anything you want to add on your navigation bar. So I'll use either a button or a text. I'll click on a text and I'll draw my first text box, and I'll edit it by writing home. So this will be my home page, home. I'll come and do my settings. I'll remove star, choose let me choose 24. Let me do it 30. Okay, so that's my home page. I will bold and then choose my favorites, which is what? Arial. Now when you do this, you are done with the first page. What you do is you would like to copy this one, or you can duplicate it. So you hold on your control and then you drag it to the right. Make sure you are doing it in the same grid. I want another one, so I'll still hold my control and I will drag. I'll still hold my control and I'll drag this. Okay, so let me edit them. This will be my about page. I'm maintaining the same settings, Arial and then 30. So I'll just write about, come to this and then do it services. The services will render, and also the services box is too short. Let me increase it. Let me move this a little so that I can open up this. Correct. Now the last one, I can just say the contact page. Our contact. Let me also adjust my contact, my text box to fit. So now that we have indicated the things that will appear on our navigation bar, we can add additional settings to them. For instance, you want when a visitor hovers the mouse pointer on the navigation button, it should change to a particular color, it should increase in size, or it should just behave a certain way. So we are going to double click on the text element here, then we go to what? Conditional. Now this condition works just like the way the workflow works, but it's a bit different. So I'll click on this and say when this text is clicked, when it is clicked, when it is hovered, what should happen to it? I'll indicate what should happen to it. Okay, so I can say bold, I can increase the font size, I can change the font style, I want to change the color. So when the mouse pointer is hovered on it, it should change to, let's say, blue. I'll put this into practice for you to see. Okay, so it ends here. Let me do the same for about. I'll double click on about, choose the condition for it, and say when this text is clicked, it's hovered, what should happen? I'll indicate what should happen. Change the font color to blue, change it to blue. Let me also close this. What I'm trying to do is that when I put my mouse pointer on it this way, the color should change from black to blue. You will do that in practice before we close today's lesson. So you go to condition, then you give your test a condition. Okay, and this test is what, when it is hovered, what should happen to it? You indicate, let the font color change to blue. I want to do something different for the last one. When I want to change it to red, so that it will, okay, I will change it to a different condition. So when this text is hovered, increase the font size to 36. It's at 30, so let me do it 36. And now, so let me just try and practice it. Well, we can't practice it here, we can't preview it here unless we go to our index page. So I'll come here, come and add this my reusable element on my index page. So this is my index page. So I'll look for reusable elements, the one I just created. I'll see it here, main header. I'll just come and place it here. When I place it on my index page, it should appear. So now let me preview it and explain what I was trying to talk about. So now this is now my page. Now I've given it a header. I'm saying that when I put the mouse pointer on it this way, it should change to blue. This is also working, changing to blue. This is also working, changing to blue. But this I did a particular thing to it. Please check. You see that the font size has increased from 30 to 36 when I put the mouse pointer on it. So you can put almost any condition on it. Okay, make sure your conditions are straight to the point. It shouldn't be too flamboyant. It should be something simple. You can decide that when you hover the mouse pointer on it, you should underline it, you should change the color, you should increase it, you should increase the size, or whatever you want to do. Alright, so before it will work, you are supposed to what? Create the reusable element. If you create a reusable element, then you come and add the reusable element to what? To your index. You have to add it to your index. When you add it to your index, then you can what? Actually see the operation or how it will work. Okay, so you can come back, do your editing. You can continue doing your editing here, add more navigation text or navigation buttons, and then come and add it into your index, and that is all. You are good to go. Now check something. Apart from the default reusable element, which is what? The footer, and then the header, you can see that there's an additional one, which is what? Main header. That is what we just did right now. So if there is a need for me to be doing headers anytime I'm creating an application, I'll just have to call this my reusable element. I don't have to recreate it by bringing recreating this entire stretch, bringing in the group, bringing in this my text boxes, and then typing all these things, because I will save this one as a reusable element and I can use it over and over again, countless number of times. Alright, this is going to be the end of today's lesson. I'll see you again in our next lesson. Bye bye.